Matt, we are back for another cybersecurity tech talk sponsored by Hillstone Networks.
Yes.
How are you doing? How you been?
I've been all right. I've been feeling this cybersecurity vibe. October is cybersecurity month here in the States, isn't it?
It is. It is cybersecurity month, and I'm thinking about it as well because I'm actually, you can't tell from my background, but I'm at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas, Nevada. As anyone who follows cybersecurity knows, they suffered a major breach just a few months ago, right, which shut down a number of casinos and cost them a lot of money. So even the big guys get targeted and victimized. So is there hope for us little guys?
I don't know. I doubt it. But hey, we have an interesting couple of guests. But before we get into that, we're gonna play our game. I'm gonna throw some numbers out there and see if you can figure it. Okay.
I'm ready.
519. What is that?
519.
Uh-huh.
I know a little bit about our topic today, so I'm going to say universities in the world.
Universities in Mexico.
In Mexico, wow. Okay.
Yeah. In the world. Really?
I live in the South.
All right. That's part one. 1551.
1551, number of cybersecurity breaches.
No, that
university.
Is... Oh, you're not supposed to jump in, you cheater.
Sorry, guys. Don't resist.
One of our guests jumped in. Yes, that is the date of the oldest university in Mexico being founded. It is
1551.
1551, the National Autonomous University of Mexico. And I have one more for you. Okay. 213,004.
213,004 students enrolled in 1551.
Yes, that is the number of undergrad students enrolled in the National Autonomous University of Mexico. 213,000.
In one university?
One university. Yeah.
Holy cow.
One campus. Right? So you think about the biggest universities here in the U.S., Texas A&M, Michigan State, they have about 70,000 students. That's over 3 times the size from a student population. So think about the nightmares that every IT security professional has at that university, day in and day out, trying to provide secure access to all 213,000 students and making sure they don't do anything stupid, but knowing they will, trying to mitigate the threat that comes along with the stupid thing college students do.
So each of those students were carrying. So if each of those students are carrying a smartphone, that's 213,000 endpoints that I have to go and secure on top of whatever else I have in my infrastructure.
What about the laptops?
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
400,000.
Exactly. Yeah. So luckily, we have some experts with us today. Our first is the managing director of TAS Micro. They're a Spain-based services and consulting company that has a huge presence in Mexico. He is the managing director for Mexico, Sergio Hernandez. Sergio, thanks for joining us. It's great to have you with us.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure. I'm saying hi from Spain currently, actually. Enjoying a lot of food and wine. So very happy, very happy.
Excellent.
More happy to be with you.
Excellent. You're probably especially happy with the wine. That's good.
Especially.
Excellent. And also, we have systems engineer extraordinaire from Hillstone Networks, based out of Mexico, Marco Kopp. Marco, thank you for joining us.
Hi, Marco.
Thank you for having me. I'm actually located in Guatemala, but I'm in charge of the whole region. So,
man, I'm screwing everything up today. All right. So Sergio's in Spain, you're in Guatemala. I can't get anything right. Nonetheless, we have the two brains behind how Mexican universities, higher education institutions are planning and implementing security strategies. So this is going to be a fun chat.
So some more figures, guys. Some more figures to continue the game.
Yeah.
There's a association called ANUYES in Mexico that gathers 191 institutions of higher education. We call higher education institutions in Mexico universities or high schools. No, the ANUYES only has universities. And among these 191 universities, which is a little 40% of the total number you mentioned, Matt, of the a little bit 500 you mentioned, but they have 80% of the complete students, 80% of the complete student population that's currently, studying a degree or a post degree. No.
Okay.
So 80%. So they have the volume. Perhaps not all the universities, but they have the big ones. No, for sure. They execute an annual survey regarding the state of the IT, of the information technology infrastructure, policies, general practices among this universe of universities. Among this list. One figure that stands out is budget-wise. Cybersecurity budget-wise, 40% of these universities do not have a budget in cybersecurity. So at the beginning of the year, they do not know if they will have money to protect themselves. So they start the year, they start the operation, and somebody has to ask somebody else for some money to protect themselves. So in terms of strategy, regardless of the vertical, one would think that the university vertical, the educational vertical, is a very mature one, because it's where the knowledge is produced around the world, in Mexico also. The UNAM, the big one that you mentioned, Matt, produces one third of the total patents in Mexico, for example. So yes, they produce a lot of knowledge. But this vertical, this environment, this group of organizations are still very, very, in a very, very basic state, regarding cybersecurity. So the main challenge they face is the institutional awareness. Imagine 40% of these institutions that I mentioned are in the Anuyes, in this universe of 191 universities that have 80% of total students do not have a budget at the beginning of the year. Another figure, 21% of them do not have a cybersecurity specialist. So the cybersecurity or the information security, as they mentioned in their study, in their survey, the information security challenges, strategies, operations are done by IT generalists. Again, another big challenge. So just some figures and some information to start the discussion. So this is what you can find in this vertical. But I have to say also that it is very heterogeneous. You can it's very broad, and very different. The state of awareness can be very different. We might have a private, very strong and very private and very famous and well-regarded institutions such as the TEC de Monterrey or the IPADE or the ITAM that have a very strong awareness, a very strong maturity in cybersecurity. They can even have a CISO, which is a bit uncommon in universities or in the educational environment. But you can also find, so this is one part of this group of universities. But you can also find the other part, a university not small, but you can find a state university that has no budget, for example, and has no IT specialists. So this is what you face. This is what you find when you study a little bit this vertical in Mexico.
I find that very surprising because I look at a university as compared to, say, an enterprise, right? All of my endpoints tend to be in very public areas. My users, my students, maybe they don't care so much about cybersecurity like an employee would for his company. Are they suffering attacks, right? Do we see universities being targeted?
For sure, they're suffering attacks. We see universities targeted. And I think, again, there's a study by PricewaterhouseCoopers in Mexico called Defending Yesterday, Mainly when they survey not only universities, they survey many different kind of companies, and they find out that in general terms, the average strategy is defending, past attacks. That's why they call this Defending Yesterday. Well, this is a very good way to describe the if you can describe this as a strategy, more a strategy, the practice, or what they do, the day-to-day cybersecurity operation in the universities in Mexico. They're defending yesterday. Again, you might find, and I know some institutions that are, at the edge. They are very well. They have very, very good, very efficient strategies, and they operate very well. But in general terms, they are defending yesterday. So yes, they suffer attacks all the time, and I guess this is a normal consequence of this state of lack of awareness, lack of budget, lack of resources in general terms.
Let me add something right there. We all know that the networks have been evolved. We have server on premise, we have cloud, we have software as a service, and the universities I have that I have seen in the region, not just Mexico but Latin America in general, they don't tend to secure all of these services that they are acquiring. As Sergio was stating, they don't have a cybersecurity technical guy. They just use the regular IT guy. But it's not just because the lack of budget; it's the lack of awareness, and they don't do it until they have a breach. And when they have a breach, they tend just to cover that breach. They don't see the whole because of a lack of awareness again.
Do you see this as an opportunity? Obviously, it's an opportunity from a business perspective, but for a lot of these universities that you deal with, is it a case where they don't have IT security professionals because they outsource that to companies like TAS Micro with Hillstone, and so technically they don't, but they still have coverage through that relationship, or not at all?
No, not at all. It can be it can be described as an opportunity, but certainly it's not a blue ocean. No, you find many different states in terms of cybersecurity awareness, budget, and so on. So you have to segment, the opportunities, and there's an old saying in sales that if you segment, you'll find opportunities. No, so sure. And universities in Mexico are not an exception, are the rule. So you have to segment, to group them, perhaps in terms of challenges, in terms of cybersecurity awareness, state, in terms of budget, and then you can find opportunities. Of course, they need customized solutions. Again, it's important to mention and to state that the lack of cybersecurity awareness, the lack of budget, doesn't mean that they will grab or they will buy anything that you offer, any cheap solution, let me say like that, any low quality cheap solution. No. Yes, again, it's an opportunity, but it's not a blue ocean. So you have to segment to find opportunities there. Yes.
I was going to say, it sounds like even before you get to the opportunity phase, what you said is oftentimes there's not even a dedicated security function within the university. So you have to drive awareness, right, before you can go and help solve their problem. I imagine that's challenging.
Yes, exactly. And I think, yes, you have to drive awareness. This is the first step, and it's challenging, but I think companies such as Hillstone and some other companies in Mexico will have the resources to do that, have the local personnel such as Marco, have the technology and so on. So we have been able to find nice ways to, drive awareness in the first stage, and the second stage, translate that activity to an actual opportunity, and hopefully help the universities in their cybersecurity evolution, in the evolution voyage or trip.
But how do you, and this is a question for both of you, how do you, in our kind of preparation call, we're talking about the challenges faced, right? You talked about how do you kind of go in as a third party when you're starting from zero? I mean, there is, as you say, oftentimes there's not even awareness. How do you go in and kind of assess, an organization's readiness and willingness and kind of acceptance of their challenges to even be?
Let me jump right on that one. The easiest way to do it is to create a necessity that they don't know they have. And for example, if you show them all the attacks that they are getting from external points, from internal ones, from all the users, all the students that have their phones hacked because they install all the applications and games they can. Uh, so if you show them that they are having a lot of issues within their network, and they can solve that issues if they just have a couple of control security points. So that's going to create them a necessity because they need functionality. And if they don't have the functionality that their students or teacher needs, it's going to create that necessity.
Yeah.
I agree with Marco, but we have had a different approach, a more like, let me say, practical approach. As you mentioned, we're distributors specialized in cybersecurity in Latin America, and we have some footprint in the vertical with other layers of cybersecurity, mainly with endpoint, which is the more basic layer here in Mexico, and the very first thing they will buy. So through this previous experience, we know already more or less which ones have some awareness, which more or less which ones will have some needs or are vulnerable in the terms Marco described. So we build based on that. We offer the specifically regarding Houston and regarding the portfolio and solutions, network security in general terms. We start this exchange of information, this interlocution with them, and start, trying to identify their main challenges, And the challenges can vary a lot, They can be quite basic, from basic cybersecurity network for the network to quite advanced and quite sophisticated, such as implementing SD-WAN, for example, in entire network, or such as they might have already some workloads in the cloud, and they might be looking for cloud workload protection, for example. So in this term, Houston is a very valuable ally, for us, because you guys have the portfolio that we need to address these challenges that we find. So that's the way we have approached the challenge, through our previous footprint in the vertical.
Yeah, I think we need to be really flexible to cover all the points and corners that you can find that the university needs. So you can just cover one, that it's the network. You have to go to the cloud. You have to go to the endpoint. You have to go everywhere.
I think there's a third option, and that is you could hire Steve and I to hack into their networks and then expose their vulnerabilities. That's an option for you.
Okay.
We come cheap.
Well,
right?
we're currently at the planning stage for 2024. That's a nice idea.
Set some budget aside.
But I think that the main challenge of the vertical is the awareness, the institutional awareness. This survey that I mentioned from the ANUYES also mentions, for example, that 21% do not have a cybersecurity specialist. 45% of these universities do not use any cybersecurity framework. That's very, very hard to listen. 49% do not execute any kind of audit annually. So they might establish a cybersecurity strategy 2 or 3 years ago, and they're still using the same one. And this cybersecurity environment is quite dynamic. So if you're protecting yourself with something that you implemented 3 years ago, you're basically unprotected totally. So institutional awareness is very, very important, and specifically at C-level, at the decision-making level. And we see that this vertical specifically lacks that a lot. We have been throughout the years. We that are in this business. This was a challenge some years ago for all verticals, no. But more and more we see a seat in the table of the big guys, a seat reserved for a cybersecurity specialist, no. Mm-hmm. And the adult table, let me say, not with the kids. Now with the adults, we can sit in many other verticals. This is happening, and also in Mexico, in the financial vertical, in the retail vertical, and so on. But this is not happening still in the educational sector. In the high-level educational sector, is not happening. So they're behind. This is, I think, the main challenge. If we can tackle efficiently the institutional awareness to create this awareness at the C-level, well, I think the other challenges such as budget, such as HR restrictions, such as institutional alignment, so on, will then start improving. But this is still the most important thing. And it's also a paradox because these universities are producing the HR, the human resource that will operate and make decisions in the future regarding cybersecurity. So it's a paradox. It is a paradox.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Sergio. That it is kind of a paradox in that, the kids that are being taught in computer science or being taught in IT are being taught in environments that are less than, and cybersecurity being taught in less than secure environments. Do you find that engagement of kind of C-level and then everything kind of flows down from that? Have you found that to be effective in your? I know it's a dedicated focus for you in Hillstone. Have you found that to be successful so far?
It is successful in the private sector. It is not successful in the public sector.
Okay.
Not to enter in policy because it's quite it's not the topic for the podcast. But yes, in the private sector is I would say not easy, but it advances. You see advance. You see you see improvement. In the public sector, it's not happening, and this is again a paradox, no? Because the public sector is a main target, not only universities in general terms, a main target of the bad guys, and lack of awareness there, lack of budgets, and so on. Well, translating in higher risks, no?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But on the other hand, sorry, Matt. On the other hand, what we find also is we find the IT personnel very keen on getting not on accessing to bigger budgets and so on. Very keen on accessing to knowledge regarding cybersecurity. I think cybersecurity, apart from being a necessity, it's a very exciting topic. No, it's a very exciting topic, very dynamic. No, so we see, we find, and that we love that. We find that the guys, the IT operators or the IT personnel of the universities are quite keen, quite open to receive knowledge. They're quite open. When you offer them a certification on this, on that, or that technology, they are quite enthusiastic, quite happy to receive that. And we also see that in the alumni, in the students. We also see that the students in the IT careers are also quite excited regarding cybersecurity, and they're also quite keen on receiving knowledge. So this is nice to have, and I think this is something that we should take more advantage of. This is something that we can leverage on regarding this big challenge in the educational vertical.
So Taz Micro says, okay, look, Mexico, a lot of universities, lots of students, lots of need around cybersecurity. There are hundreds of, literally thousands of security solutions out there and hundreds of security providers. You're looking for the best fit to go create a kind of an end-to-end solution for education. And you look across the market and you say, Hillstone. Why? What about Hillstone did you find to be a good solution to bring to the education market, and both from a product and a people perspective?
Efficient technology at a fair price. efficient technology, broad. You have a very nice lineup of products, and it's quite dynamic. You are launching all the time new products, new solutions, and your prices are fair. For our region, for Latin America is a very price sensitive region, and the educational vertical is super price sensitive. No, super price sensitive. So with Houston, we can achieve a nice we can reconcile those two things. We can reconcile to deliver a high quality solution, to deliver a flexible one in terms of your need might be quite basic regarding network security, or your need can be quite sophisticated regarding microsegmentation, zero trust network access, and so on. You have in Houston the complete, the portfolio to attend these different states of needs, and you have it with a high quality product, very important, and more important in our markets, with a fair price. This is very important in general terms. I will add to this something else. First, very important, and in the last years, very important, stock availability, super important in this industry. Houston has had this, and this has been quite nice for us. And another thing is local structure, local personnel. We have a local team of Marco and his colleagues, Mexicans that speak Mexican, that know how to speak to the clients. In this business, when the client sees the brand behind the reseller, behind the distributor, this is very important. This provides a lot of confidence, no? And Houston has invested, in the very high qualified personnel here in Mexico, and they're very keen on helping us, deliver the Houston solutions. And yes, we're also quite happy with this. This is very important also for the local markets, the face-to-face. No, this is also very important.
If you let me add something there, is Houston is not just about cybersecurity; it's also about innovation in cybersecurity. So we are always on point, on the edge. We are always evolving and innovating in all of our portfolio. So that's another reason I will add.
Yeah. Do you find, I know there's a lot that Hillstone does utilizing machine learning and AI to be very proactive in its approach to detecting threats or mitigating against threats in the first place, or mitigating the threat landscape in the first place. Do you find, you started, Sergio, with the discussion of, that PwC report about kind of fixing yesterday. Do you find that, when you talk to a C-suite and you go in with Hillstone and you talk about, look, we set this up, we configure it for your environment, and it does a lot of your work for you. It finds events or threats, before they impact, and remove them from the equation. Do you find that's an attractive story for public universities? Do the C-suite or the C-level executives start to understand the value that delivers?
Yes, when you engage with the part of the environment that is mature, yes, of course, they will demand this. If you don't have this, like Marco says, this innovation, you will be, let me say, disqualified from the contest. No, so yes, we engage and interact in such discussions, and they value very much this innovation, this quality of solutions from Hillstone. And the C-suite, the mature C-suite, is looking in very broad general terms for two things: solutions that can stop as much as possible, solutions that can provide them detect and response, and solutions that can automatize as much as possible. No, because it's a never-ending story. No, yeah. If you want to attend any and all threats, you must have an infinite budget. There's no such thing. So you need to consolidate and automatize. No, and I think Hillstone provides this at strategic level. No, consolidates and provide some level of automatization. No? And this is quite valued for the C-level.
Yeah, let me add something there. Just returning for a statistical point, there's an statistics that said that almost 7 seconds takes in the world to create a new malware. So you have to you have to have all these machine learning, behavioral patterning, so you can then protect yourself from these 0-day attacks. If you don't have this kind of technology, this kind of innovation, you will not be able to stop it nor recognize it until it's too late.
I will add to this number 7. This is a nice number. Why Houston, Matt? Because we have confidence in their technology. It is 7 times more expensive to have a new client than to renew one you have. So you have to take care of your clients, no? And that starts with quality products of high quality, no? And Houston is that. It's a very high quality product, no? And again, with a fair price.
I like some.
Go ahead, Matt.
Oh, you go first. You go first.
I was going to circle all the way back, and we started the conversation talking about higher education in Mexico, and here's my question: is this a Mexico-specific problem, or do we see kind of similar lack of security right across a broader area?
I'm not sure. To be quite honest, I'm not sure. I cannot for now respond for Mexico. Yes. But there are
I can talk from the region perspective.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. So I can talk about the region's perspective from SOLA, Central America, Caribbean, and Mexico. And it's an issue we see in the whole region.
Okay. All right. Sorry, Matt. I didn't mean to sidetrack.
No, that was a really good question, and kind of tied to that to some degree. I want to go back to something, Sergio, you hit on when you talked about Hillstone, and we rightfully so. When we get on these conversations and these podcasts, talk about technology. But you mentioned something, Sergio, about having people, local resources on the ground in Mexico that speak Mexican, right? But that are part of the culture. Security is, I look at 3 vectors, right? There's technology, there's people, and there's process. And if one of those is missing, then the whole equation breaks, right? And if you could just a little bit talk, maybe you can, maybe you can't, but around the people part of this equation and how they drive processes and training and kind of instilling that muscle within the organization that helps them understand how to have a security first mindset in everything they do, and in addition to all the technology they deploy.
Well, Houston has a very mature and seniority with a nice seniority team in Mexico. So they approach the market from the consulting side. Let me say that. No, they're not salespeople; they're consultants. They have the seniority and the expertise to do that, and they are able to engage in these high-level discussions with C-level personnel. They approach it from the marketing side. No, Houston is building the brand in Mexico still. It's still a young brand in Mexico, but I think that you guys are doing nice efforts there. So they're building the brand from the marketing side. And a very important link of this chain is the support, the technical post-sale service. You have the technical center for Latin America in Mexico. So you have Latin American and Mexican engineers working in the technical support for Latin America here in Mexico. I guess this is nice for Latin America, but this is especially nice for us. And they're from their side also creating awareness, enhancing, let me say, the cybersecurity culture through a lot of trainings, a lot of activity in trainings, through support and through they engage with the partners in the implementations and in the operations and so on. No? Houston is a proactive, hands-on approach company in technical terms. And that is also quite nice to have, because you have on your side the expert from the brand, and this provides you with confidence and provides your client with confidence. No, and in the long term, this translate in confidence and long-term business. So this is also quite important to have.
And you as TAS Micro, I have to think you provide some of those services as well, right? I mean, you're a yes. large distributor of technology, right?
Yes, we do. We do have engineers that are certified in Houston and provide this kind of services. But I have to say, for big deals, the brand must always be present. Must always be present, because your competitors are. So sure. It's always nice to have that resource here. Even some of the brands in some other layers of the cybersecurity, we know that if we don't have that, we cannot address successfully big deals, big companies. So in this segment, it's very important to have. And also, you might face a happy problem with many projects. Your engineers might be, full, and you can also always, ask for help for the brand. So it is nice to have that resource here in Mexico.
So one last question, which I find interesting, and I remember we were chatting about this the other day, is you talk about, when you implement these security solutions, in some ways, they can be used as training for educational purposes as well. Do you find that this is a trend that's happening within the universities? You deploy. Sorry, you seem ready to.
Yes, as I mentioned before in the podcast, the IT personnel, either the cybersecurity specialized or the generalist, let me say, and the students are quite keen on receiving knowledge, high quality knowledge. So part of the offer we provide to the end user through our resellers is to have specific sessions for the IT group, specific training for the IT group. And if they are okay, we can also provide with specific training, not specific, general awareness training in cybersecurity for the students of the university. And this is very valued and very well received, and it's an additional contribution that we do, and we're very happy to do it. First, if the more you train the person or the personnel that will operate the technology, the best experience will be, the best, the more ROI they will have. And in second place, the more knowledge you provide to the student base, well, eventually this should translate into business for us all, eventually. But if not, it doesn't matter. It's a nice thing to do, and we have the resources and we can do it, alongside you guys, of course. So yes, this is very important. This has been a very nice thing to have in the offering for us in this vertical.
That's a great value add.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Steve. Now back to you, Steve. Sorry.
Now back to me. I think that's a fantastic place to wrap up. I want to thank you both for taking the time. This has been great conversation. I certainly learned a lot. I came in, you opened my eyes, I think, with some of the statistics, certainly early on. So.
They're pretty shocking. Yeah, pretty shocking statistics. And the need for awareness and education out there is very apparent.
Yes. Well, guys, thank you very much. It was a pleasure. It was very nice to have this chat with you, Matt, Steve, Marco. Say yao. Not very. My Chinese is not the best one. Sorry.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having us, guys. I appreciate it a lot.
And Matt, we will be back again in, I guess, about 4 weeks for the final Tech Talk of the year. I'm anxious to see what that topic is. So.
I'd love to do a follow-up on this in a few months to see how.
Oh, for sure.
Taking off down in Mexico. So I'm ready for a call back, guys.
Cool.
Sure. Anytime.
All right, guys.
Thank you, guys.